Hello, everybody, and welcome to another rendition of Trying to Suck a Little Bit Less at Overwatch. Oh boy. Ladies, gentlemen, beautiful in-betweens, we have had a distinct increase in the amount of games that we can call rough. I think that's a safe thing to say. There have been a series of nights where things have just not gone our way, to say the least. And we had one of those nights recently where the games that we played and lost really left me with a blech sort of feeling. Like, it really bothered me. It was the way I get bothered when I play, say, like Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering or Clash Royale or some sort of game like that, where, you queue up for the game, you get ready to go, you're, psyched up to prove your mettle, and at some point during the game, you realize that you had lost before you even really started. You realize at some point that your opponent has just better cards than you, and there was nothing you could have done. You lost the game before you started. So those games felt like that kind of, we just couldn't do anything about the losses. It sucked, right? It felt really, really bad. So I was really happy that I had recorded those games, and Zoralis had recorded the games, and Nemissary had recorded the games. So suddenly I had 3 different perspectives to analyze these games with, and I thought, great, this is going to be awesome, because then I can find our misplays, figure out what we did wrong, and the games will feel way less mysterious and gross. It won't feel like just magical losses that we couldn't do anything about. We'll be able to identify what we did, and that would feel much, much better, right? It would feel way better. And so, while I was going through these games from the 3 different perspectives, with my pen and pencil ready, or pen and paper, and also pencil, writing devices, those archaic things that you sometimes use to write with, all ready to go, to note the timestamps on the video to say, oh, we misplayed here, or we should have used an ultimate there. But while I was going through these, it slowly dawned on me why these games kind of had that gross we had lost before we started feeling. It's because we did. The other teams that we faced on these games that we just lost had way better teamwork than we did. And it was really that simple. I mean, obviously the moment-to-moment decisions aren't simple, and the breakdown of their teamwork versus ours, that's not simple as such, but we didn't stand a chance against them. Their teamwork was solid. Ours was less solid, so we lost. Even though one of the games we were a full 6-stack in both the games. One of them was a 5-stack and a rando, and the other was a 4-stack and a 2-stack against our 6-stack. And I remember we even were outraged in that King's Row game where we were saying, like, we're the 6-stack. Why are we losing? Well, it's because our teamwork was worse. So, that's frustrating and dumb, right? What the hell is a matchmaker doing? Why is it putting us against people who's just blatantly better than us and who's gonna whoop our butts because their teamwork isn't as good as theirs? Like, that's stupid. We're good at making some level of shot calls, even if they're not pro level, we do communicate and we make shot calls and we group up. I think we've gotten pretty darn good at grouping up, and that was enough before, right? It has been, but it's slowly but steadily becoming not enough. Are we getting better? Are we... Holy crap. Guys, I think we're starting to creep into the next skill ceiling. We're getting better. This is actually kind of a good thing. It's an exciting thing. It's a frustrating thing at times, but it's good too. Because if you think about it, we all started kind of season 2 and 3 in the low to low mid silver ranking. Some of us a little higher, some of us a little lower. We were all around there. And since really, we've been playing since the beta. We've been slowly clawing our way up. And at some point, we started to get our act together, and we started to really, you know, do some fundamental teamwork stuff. We started to group up. We're getting even better at that, more consistent at grouping up. We have been doing that, and we've been winning more games than not, or at least we were. And now suddenly we're going into Season 4 with high silver rankings and even some solid gold placements. I mean, heck, Nougat even managed to touch into platinum. Like, we're not where we used to be anymore in the ranking system. We've climbed, we've gotten better. And so suddenly we're hitting teams that have a little bit more chutzpah than we do. They've gotten their teamwork up to a level slightly beyond. Because before, in like the low, in our old ELO that we were in the beginning of Season 2 and 3, right? Or in the beginning, really, of Season 3, when we really put it, you know, when we really started to group up, when we really started to do that consistently and well, we had a bunch of games where we just trounced the enemy team. We destroyed them. We had a few nights, or one night in particular, where we deemed it the best night of Overwatch ever, where we not only won each game, but won them handily. And that's because every single time we were doing the really good group up stuff. We were grouping up, we were, you know, stopping engagements that we knew we lost, we didn't feed ult charge, and that was more than enough teamwork to win those games. But it's getting to the point. It's not, I don't think it's completely there yet. Like, we didn't suddenly hit a ceiling and now every single game we're going to lose until we get our act together. There'll still be some bouncing around, but we've risen now to the rank where just grouping up and just making a few kind of standard calls to use an ultimate or make a play, that level isn't going to be enough to let us raise much further than our current ranks. I mean, if we grind it out enough and for long enough, yeah, we could probably get there. Maybe we'll get to mid-gold before we really hit the wall. But we're going to have a harder and harder time if we just kind of stay at the level of teamwork that we're at. So, again, I think that's an exciting thing. I think that's cool, because this is proof, in my mind, proof positive that since we've started playing this game, we have undeniably improved, because we're now facing opponents that have figured out that next level. So we've caught up to this next level of play. So the question is, what do we do from here? I've got some thoughts that I'm going to go into here, and y'all can tell me what you think and add your own 2 cents, and it'll be, I mean, we're all in this together. We mostly, you know, group up in 6-stack when we play competitive, so we all have to figure this thing out. But before I go into my thoughts on kind of what we can do to start to bring our teamwork up to that next level of play, there's one point that I think is worth acknowledging. And I want to really underline it before I say anything to say, I think this is amazing. I think it's super, super cool. But it's important to note as we go forward and we try to learn how to work better together, is that our little group has grown in size and number to the point that we can practically call it a community. I mean, the Own Worst Enemy clan kind of group we've always been around, sure, but it's been steadily growing. Since we started really getting into Overwatch, when we started, or there was kind of a dry spell where it was basically just Nougat and Zoralis kind of 2-stacking every night, and then people got on more consistently. As of recent date, Nick and his roommate have joined us. My brother and his girlfriend are trying to get back into it. My wife is looking to get back into it as well. Where, like, our community is growing steadily. I mean, hell, we are currently curating a YouTube channel for use in our community. I mean, how cool is that? But it is important to note that because the group is starting to get so large, that from game to game is going to be a different experience and different levels of teamwork as we all learn how to get the most out of each other and how to use the hero pools that the people in the game currently have. Because even from game to game as people drop out, as like somebody's kid vomits on their own sensory organs and you have to go deal with that, and somebody swaps out and somebody comes in. Suddenly this next game is going to have a different feel, because you might have just lost somebody who was a really solid Anna or a really solid Reinhardt, and now somebody else has to try and fill that role, and there's switching and compensating that's happening. And so going forward, we have to acknowledge that is a thing that we need to deal with. It's an awesome problem to have. Again, I want to underline that. It's so friggin' cool that we have enough people that we constantly have a 6-stack. Like pretty much every night, we have enough people, more than enough people, to have a full team. But we're at different skill sets, and we have different hero pools, and we need to work on that and acknowledge that, because I don't think, at least I have never acknowledged that, because it really felt like as long as we had a 6-stack and as long as we were on voice comms, we are a team. But that's not quite the end of the story. At least it can't be anymore if we want to push it to the next level. So, how do we push it to that next level? I'm glad you asked. Point number 1. Be patient with each other as we try and figure this shit out. Kind of building off the point about how big our community is and how we're going to be working with different people every night and how those people have different skill sets. We are at the point now where grouping up isn't where the teamwork is. That's where the teamwork is going to start. We group up, we make a play, or we say that we're going to do some kind of split squad compy sort of thing. Some people are going to go flank, and we come up with our plan, and then we start to execute that. But that is no longer the end. If we want to keep raising in our level, that's where it's going to start. And while we all figure out our roles, while we all figure out how we can get the most out of our heroes and the most out of each other, and while people learn how to flex into new heroes, there's going to be some growing pains, right? There's absolutely going to be some growing pains. I haven't been playing as long as Nugan, Zoralis, who, and Nick hasn't been playing as long as me, and there's going to be team comps and moments and groups where things just are not working out for us, right? There's a learning that needs to happen, and that learning may get painful at times. We're going to all have to kind of take a breath, call each other on our bullshit. No question about that. Absolutely call it out so we can learn. But we have to try and keep patience with each other. Because I know in some of these games recently, right, before I kind of came to this revelation and put a different spin on it in my mind and realized that these difficult games are actually really cool, because it's proof that we've gotten awesomer than we were when we started playing, I would get pretty tilted, right? Pretty tilted at myself, pretty tilted at other people for making what I saw as poor plays. But we've got to just kind of chill. Just kind of chill, take a chill pill, man. Take a moment here to realize that there's some learning that needs to happen. But anyway, I've just repeated myself about 6 to 12 times. So I think we can move on to point number 2. Call it out when you use your ultimate. I think this is just a general good habit to get into. And I want to make it clear that I'm not saying ask permission to use your ultimate. Because in a game as fast-paced as Overwatch, if you're Reinhardt and you have your hammer, your Earth Shatter all ready to go, and you see a bunch of nice squishies unprotected that you can knock down and get some real work done, you're not going to go, hey guys, all the squishies are lined up, should I use my Earth Shatter right now? I want to see if it's a good idea. Oh, never mind, they all move behind a Reinhardt shield. Never mind. But if we start calling our ultimates when we use them, when we hit Q and we use our ultimates, right? Hopefully we'll stop overlapping ultimates where it's not necessary, because in the footage that I'm starting to collect, I've noticed more than a few instances of, say, Roadhog going full hog at around the same time our soldiers using Tact Visor, or a Graviton Surge goes out at the same time, or the same time-ish, an Earth Shatter goes out, and, a Diva Bomb is thrown in there as well at some point. And I think if at the point you see an opportunity to use your ultimate, and you're going to use it, you say, you know, I'm using Tact Visor, I'm throwing out my Diva Bomb, I'm throwing out my Graviton Surge. Maybe the person who also saw that opportunity and was about to hit Q, that will be enough of an opportunity for them to kind of jerk their finger away from their ultimate button. And we can avoid losing alt economy battles by using overlapping ultimates when it's not necessary. Finally, the last point I'm going to go over, I think, is the biggest one that will start to push our teamwork up to that next level, which is to ask yourself, what is my current job in this team comp? I mean, we all know generally what the heroes are good at, but when you pick Reinhardt, we have to go beyond, saying that I am Reinhardt, so my job is press left click to swing hammer, right click to put up shield. I know my duties. Because depending on the team comp that we have and what we're trying to accomplish and the enemy's team comp, your job may be to charge the opposing Reinhardt to take his shield out of the fight so our DPS can do their job and we can, take point A on Hanamura. Or, if you're Winston, then maybe your job is to help initiate, you jump in there with a Zarya bubble to start to panic the backlines and then jump out of there so you're a disruptor. Or maybe your job is to basically sit on our supports to protect them from Genji harassment. I think we are getting to know the heroes' kits really well, so we're figuring out what they're good at. But at least I know, me personally, I tend to have trouble breaking out of my decided role of what the particular hero I've picked can and should do. I need to frequently ask myself in the game, am I doing the job that my team currently needs me to do, not necessarily am I using the hero in the meta correct way. And I think if we all start asking ourselves that question during the games, we're going to start to naturally just come together better. Because we're all start asking ourselves, how can we enable everybody else to do their jobs better? What does my Ana, what does my Reinhardt, what does my soldier need me to do with this character? What should I be doing? Which enemy should I be focusing on? And once that starts to come together, we're all helping each other out, that'll become kind of the next thing. I really think that when we do that, it'll be like the same jump that we had when we started to group up. But hey, time will tell, and maybe we have to do some other big change, or maybe a whole bunch of 100 little changes. We could go on for quite a while, I think, talking about how we can improve our teamwork and the plays we could make, and there's all sorts of mechanical improvements we can make. But I think I'll leave it here. I'll leave it at those kind of thoughts, because, to try and work on too much at once is it'd be overwhelming. Like, we wouldn't be able to get it right. So I think we focused on these points, we'll really start to push our game up to the next level. And, let me know what you think, because, like I said before, we're all in this together, and I really want to get into gold, guys. I'm lonely down here in silver. The rest of you guys are up in gold, and I'm still a lonely little silver. So I got to get my act together, man. I got to start doing more. Anyway, this has been another rendition of Trying to Suck a Little Bit Less at Overwatch. Those bad games that I was talking about that you're kind of watching now in the background over just this general commentary, I think, especially where I have different perspectives, they have value. So I still may go over those in detail, but I really wanted to go over this revelation and see what you guys thought, and see if you agree or partly agree or think I'm way out to lunch. But anyway, yeah, that's it. Peace out.